So one of the most common questions I get when people see my pufferfish is, I thought pufferfish were saltwater. And yeah, there's definitely a lot of saltwater pufferfish. However, there's also a fair amount of freshwater puffers, and in this video, I'm gonna show you my top 5. So number 5 on my list is the MBU Puffer. It's one of my favorite pufferfish. However, it's 5 on my list because it's massive in size. It is the largest freshwater pufferfish in the world and are capable of reaching up to 30 inches long. That means that this pufferfish is a huge investment, not only in a giant food bill, but you're also going to need a giant aquarium to house one. Now, the biggest misconception with this fish is that it's aggressive. I have not found that to be the case at all. It tends to only be aggressive towards its own species, other pufferfish. I have kept this fish with rainbow fish, barbs, tetras, angelfish, cichlids. The only fish I would not keep with the MBU Puffer is a Corydoras or a pleco. If you're dropping in shrimp, sometimes they go after it at the same time and it becomes an accidental snack for the MBU Puffer. So that's the only time I've really had an issue with this fish. Everything online says that this fish is aggressive, but it couldn't be further from the truth. Between the one I own, the 3 that Corey from Aquarium Co-op has owned, all kept in community settings and no issues at all. So other than that, this is a great fish, and it's number 5 on my list. So number 4 on my list is the hairy puffer. The hairy puffer comes from Thailand, and it is my favorite of the ambush puffers. Ambush puffers don't tend to be the most active fish in the world, as the name suggests. They usually just sit around and wait for something to come along, and they ambush it. That's going to be snails, shrimp, other fish, and for that reason, they need to be in a species-only aquarium because they will kill anything they see. They are highly food motivated. They do get around 5 inches, so a 40-gallon breeder is perfect for these guys. You want a primarily sandy substrate because they do like to burrow a little bit while they wait for their prey. They kind of burrow down and then ambush, obviously. Standard tropical parameters are just fine for the hairy puffer. 78 degrees, a neutral pH around 7.0 is perfect, although they can handle some swing in temperature and pH, so not a very fussy fish. Now this is number 4 on my list because they are somewhat rare and hard to find, but also because they are a species-only fish. I'm not usually fond of dedicating an entire aquarium to one fish, but this fish right here is definitely the exception. I absolutely love hairy puffers, and that's why it's number 4 on my list. Number 3 on my list is the Congo spotted puffer, not to be confused with the Congo puffer, which is a highly aggressive puffer, and if you mix these two up, you're not going to have a good time. The spotted Congo puffer is a peaceful puffer and great for community aquariums. They can be found in the Congo river systems in the Republic of Congo, which I'm guessing is where their name comes from. So the spotted Congo puffer feeds on worms, snails, mollusks, and crustaceans. As with most puffers, it's probably best to keep a separate tank or bucket or just some sort of tub to raise your own snails just to help keep the cost down. Like the hairy puffer, they also get around 5 inches, so I wouldn't recommend anything smaller than a 40-gallon tank long term. Short term, you can keep them in like a 20 or a 20 long, but they do get pretty good size and a little wider body, so that the extra depth of the 40-gallon tank really helps out. They prefer standard water parameters, again 78 degrees, 7.0 pH, but like the hairy puffer, again, they can adapt to a bit wider range, lower, higher pH, a little bit cooler, maybe a little warmer, but generally you want to keep it around 70 degrees and 7.0 pH. Now these are generally pretty expensive puffers, averaging around $200 a piece, which is why they're not higher on my list. However, they are being more commonly bred in the hobby, so hopefully the prices on these start to come down in the next year or two. This would be a great centerpiece fish for like a Planet Aquarium, Planet 40, 55, because they are a community puffer. Not only can you put them in a community tank, but you can actually keep these in groups. So if you wanted to like drop $1,000 and get 5 or 6 of these bad boys, throw them in a 75-gallon tank, that would be awesome to see. It would be a really fun tank to have. And that is why they are number 3 on my list. Number 2 on my list is the Amazon puffer. The Amazon puffer can be found in multiple rivers in Brazil, Colombia, Peru, and Ecuador. They can be found in just about any habitat from sandy beach lakes to fast flowing rapids. They are highly adaptable puffers, making them perfect for home aquariums. Temperatures from 70 to 80 degrees, pH from 5.5 to 8. The one thing about this species is they can handle a wide range of parameters. They can't handle poor water conditions. So be sure to keep up on your water changes, as organic waste can wreak havoc on these puffers. I would also recommend the use of an air stone, as they do appreciate higher oxygen levels. And like most puffers, they need shelled food to keep their jawbone ground down. Fun fact about these puffers is that they don't have teeth. Instead, they use their jawbone to crush snails. But like other puffers and their teeth, their jawbone does continue to grow. And crushing the snails kind of grounds down their jawbone. So lots of snails for these guys. Another weird kind of fun fact about these puffers is that they appear to be algae grazers. Yeah, that's right. Wild specimens have been found to have significant amounts of algae in their stomach, so it wouldn't hurt to let a little algae grow in your aquarium. Another interesting little factoid is that they are actually a shoaling puffer. In the wild, they form like loose shoals and just kind of hang out with each other. So this puffer is one of the few that you actually want to buy in groups versus just buying one or two. The other nice thing about this puffer is that they're generally inexpensive, ranging from $20 to $30. So getting 5 or 6 of these guys, yeah, it adds up, you know, $100, $150, but definitely worth it to have a nice, cool group of smaller puffers that only get around 3.5 inches. So that is why it is number 2 on my list. All right, before we get to the number 1 spot, I do want to recognize an honorable mention, the Pea Puffer. Nope, it's not number 1. It actually didn't even make my list because it is, though, I believe it's the world's 2nd largest freshwater pufferfish. And if I had to decide between a Pea and a MBU, I'm always gonna go to a MBU. So Pea puffers are way cheaper. They usually run about $20 to $30. However, they're way more aggressive. And because of that, you just can't do as much as you can with a MBU puffer as far as other fish that you can put with them. It's still a really cool fish, but it didn't make the top 5. Let's get to that number 1 puffer though. All right, number 1 on the list, not Pheacas, definitely Pea Puffers. I would say probably the most common of all freshwater puffers. Now, the thing with Pea Puffers is that they're like the little chihuahuas of the puffer world. They don't seem to realize how small they are, and they really think they're MBU puffers, but they're not. That being said, keeping multiple Pea Puffers in a single tank, while tricky, can be done. General rule of thumb for a Pea Puffer is 1 for every 5 gallons. There's definitely exceptions to that rule. For instance, if you had a heavily planted aquarium, you could put more Pea Puffers in that than you could if you had a tank with hardly any decor or plants and they're just like no line of sight breaks. So if you do want to do a group of them, make sure, like I said, you have those line of sight breaks, rocks, wood, plants, hiding areas, and you shouldn't have any problems keeping multiple peas in one tank. Temperature for the Pea Puffer is going to be right in that 74 to 82 degrees. pH of around 7 to 7.5 is ideal, pretty common. Now the really nice thing about these Pea Puffers is, unlike other puffers, you don't have to worry about keeping their beaks trimmed. However, they generally won't eat dried food. Some will eat Viber bites because they look like worms, but generally you're gonna have to go frozen. So get yourself just a nice variety of frozen foods and you should do just fine. Because they are inexpensive, usually around $5 each, give or take a buck or two. They have the heart of a lion and the attitude of a lion as well. And they don't need shelled foods. It's easy to see why this is number 1 on my list. Super fun, great for nano tanks, really just an all-around cool puffer. All right, folks, there you have it, my list of top 5 puffers. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know down below which is your favorite. Doesn't even have to be on the list. It may be a Pheaca is your favorite puffer. Just let me know down below and we'll keep a tally and see which one's the most popular, I guess. Who's gonna win the popularity award. Anyways, like I said, I hope you enjoyed the video and I'll see you all next time.